Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. And this is him when he was 12. This young boy wanted to learn English. But back in the 70s, in his hometown in China, there was no English school, no English tutor, no any organized curricular activity he could join. So he went to this hotel where all the foreign businessmen stayed when they came to visit the town. And he suggested showing them around the city for free in order to be exposed to their English. He did it for 5 full years, from the age of 12 to the age of 17. This average student who barely finished school managed to be amazingly consistent in the dream school he designed for himself. That's what we wish our kids to become, self-directed learners. But we send them to school to learn the complete opposite, how to walk a road that was already paved by someone else, how to obey instructions, how to ignore their intuition and stick to the books. They're on the way to becoming unemployed. Robots and smart machines will spit them out, and we won't forgive ourselves for letting this happen. It's not the teacher's fault. It's the system that has allowed itself to remain almost the same for 70 years. And when I speak to the managers in education systems around the world, they always tell me, we want a change, but we have to be responsible. You know, we have to take the time in order to do it carefully. Let me see if I got it straight. Taking the time means that you are responsible. Really? I mean, seriously? What about high-tech, biotech, banking, insurance, medicine, transportation, communication, you name it? They all change rapidly. Are they all responsible? Just a second. Could it be that the education system is the only responsible institution in the universe? No, it isn't. Because sometimes taking time is being irresponsible. I have an idea to share with you today. An irresponsible new concept of learning to help the education system become more responsible. Cancel homework immediately. Kids will come back home without any assignment someone else gave them. And something different is going to happen. They're going to be exactly like young Jack Ma and design their own dream school. Now, my focus on homework didn't come out of nowhere. I searched the globe. I spoke with local teachers, educators, leading scholars in education, and parents. And all over the world, people have been trying to find a way to reinvent education. But in most cases, all the time, efforts, and energy lead to a very marginal effect. Let's say, the favorite magic pill is probably technology. You can see students everywhere that are surrounded by smart boards, smart computers, smart screens, smart everything, as if they don't have enough of it. Is it really going to help an exhausted teacher who's trying to catch her students' attention? More technology? Is IT really going to change the essence of learning dramatically? After 2 decades, we can already see the poor results, and the answer is definitely no. The second magic pill is the obsession around designing the learning environment. People are fascinated with colorful spaces and, mobile tables. Forget about the countless exams, endless hours of homework, or the boring curriculum. Just say hello to the pink walls and the fit balls, with handles and without. It's not going to make your kids more engaged or creative unless it's part of a much larger process of changing the whole way of learning, which, unfortunately, this is not the case. The third and last magic pill is PBL, project-based learning. 3 months ago, my daughter's class started working on the story of Noah's Ark. The special assignment was to build a model of an ark and present it at a school event. This gave us, the parents, 3 months to help the kids to build the best ark. Now, the final presentation was indeed fantastic, creative, well-engineered, with expensive materials, except for one girl, whose final display looked like a lump of clay with a paper toilet. She was obviously the only one who did it herself. We don't have the time to wait. By the way, PBL is a great idea, but usually it turns into a festive event, an overrated festive event, taken over by the parents. But we don't have the time to wait. And if the magic pills are not working, the question is still what can be done. And in your permission, I want to go back to my irresponsible idea of canceling homework and changing the whole way our kids practice and learn. Homework sucks. It's frustrating and exhausting for kids and for parents. It causes arguments and fights at home. It also increases education gaps. Some parents can't really help their kids. A few weeks ago, a single mother approached me in the middle of the street. She wanted to share with me how happy she became after her daughter's class canceled homework. I could never help her, you know, she told me, and I felt so guilty for letting her down day after day. But above all, homework makes our kids dislike learning. They get used to doing things only because they have to, not because they want to. And this is very bad for the future. Traditional homework provides our kids with a specific course to go through, while what they need more than anything else is to find their own way. It is amazing to see countries where students hardly have homework, leading the world in their math and science achievements. That shouldn't come as a huge surprise, because leading scholars in education have found minimal, if any, effect of homework on learning and achievements. But it's still amazing to see the results. I know some of you, I see the faces, some of you might think, how are students supposed to practice what they learn in class? It's not that someone can be good in math without practicing. And well, I'm not saying don't practice, I'm just saying do it differently. Enough with this repetitive and automated style of learning. The robots are coming, and they are so much better at this. And some people say, we cannot cancel homework because there isn't just enough time in class to practice. Really? Do you have any idea how much of a 45-minute lesson is actually spent on learning? 15 minutes. Actually, it's 12, but let's go on the best case scenario. 15 minutes max. Don't believe me, you can ask any teacher. You know how it is, one teacher against so many students, and of course that everyone has something to say, and we know the results. David, be quiet, please. People, be quiet. No, I'm still standing and I'm waiting, and I'm not going to continue until David is quiet. I have the whole day. Well, of course you have the whole day. The poor family has the whole afternoon to finish teaching. Behind every successful student, there is an entire family who does homework. And you know why the kids are the ones who end up going to school? Because they don't have to go to work in the morning. As simple as that. It's a kind of a technical issue. Someone has to go to school to represent the family. Something really intriguing happens when you take homework out of this. You get a kind of a domino effect. You remove homework, then no more practice out of class, then all the practice time is in class. So no more time to spare. So you divide it into groups, the whole session becomes more efficient, more group activities, and you already see the impact. But now comes the good part, what happens out of class. We ask students we work with to implement what they learn in class into their everyday life. Instead of a homework assignment, we call it, why do I need this? The idea came to me one day when I was walking down the street with my daughter Alona. In this main street, every Thursday afternoon, we had this little game. We used to walk in the street to get our favorite ice cream. So I asked Alona to find an item or an unusual whatever object she can tell me something new about based on what she learned during the past week in class to make the connection. What is that? Or who was that? Or what does this symbol mean? Or how electricity is produced? Or she can choose. And at the beginning, it was very easy for her. But as time went on, it became more and more difficult. And in the following week, she actually asked her teacher to give her more information. It wasn't enough for her. She needed something new she could really use. She was enjoying herself and learning new stuff without even realizing that she's learning. So we asked elementary school students to implement what they learned in class, and the results were fantastic. Okay? To ask, why do I need this? About everything they learn. So a second grader who learned new expressions of gratitude in language class wrote a thank you letter to a kind neighbor who helped him with his dog. A third grader who learned about graphs really fascinated us with his idea. He actually prepared a full presentation to convince his parents that he is the family chore victim, graphing the walking distance with the dog versus his sister's role, taking out the garbage. His parents were so impressed they gave him 3 weeks off. And we had a wonderful experience with first graders. Yeah, I remember. One girl said it was the very first time she used the elevator without being afraid. It was a huge building, and she practiced counting, and it distracted her. And one girl, first grader, she told me, you know, I thought about your question, and it bothered me for 2 days. Why do I need this? And then I got it. I finally understood why my mom always tells my dad to count to 10 before he reacts. Is it in time we examine and redefine our perception of homework? Could it be that we are so inflexible and strict that nothing measures up to the holy status of homework? We miss so many learning opportunities that already exist in our kids' everyday life. My eldest son, Itamar, okay, he's been playing video games for so many years. It's amazing to see how he communicates with children from different countries, how he collaborates and plans against hidden enemies, and how he learns to evaluate other people and sharpen his trust skills. Isn't it the perfect way to learn? And what about YouTube? Itamar has been watching his favorite YouTubers for so many years that his English is so good. You know, he speaks almost like a native speaker. I remember we tried to enroll him in an advanced English speaking class. Now, the teacher explained that he cannot join this class as he hadn't lived in an English-speaking country for at least 2 years. Well, I explained to the teacher that he may not have lived in an English-speaking country, but he spent more than 6 years in an English continent called YouTube. Aren't these perfect ways to learn? When you give kids the chance to find their own ways of practicing, you are always surprised by their ideas. And this is it. This is the circle. In the school where my colleagues and I work, teachers have replaced homework with a weekly session called a circle. In this circle, every student presents what he has done during the week out of school, implementing what he learned in class. The other students give him feedback on a very special scale called the wow scale. Almost a wow, a super wow, or a mega wow. So many skills are learned and practiced in this, weekly session. Students have to find the way to learn new material. Yes, they have to find how to implement the information into their everyday life. Now they have to become more mindful of their environment and to find the connections and to present it to their friends. In this circle, everyone practices their emotional intelligence and sensitivity, and they also use their critical thinking in evaluating their friends. Just picture this. Instead of sitting with your kids on pages 42, 49 in the workbook, okay, you can actually help them to come up with more and more creative ideas that actually relate to their life. Isn't it the whole point, to connect between life and the world out there? It can even be fun. We go to school, and we deserve to find our own way to develop and flourish. But we are mostly tamed and programmed, instead of being given the chance to write our own workbook. We can transform this everyday practice of homework into a process of self-discovery. It doesn't require no advanced technologies, no special budget or special design, and it improves so many skills at once. Start doing it with your kids at home, in class at school, and maybe more importantly, do it for yourself. One day when I walked down the street with my daughter as part of our little game, she decided to challenge me. Now it was my turn to find an object and tell her something new about it. So I had to reflect on my experience during the week at work and to make the connections. It was easy to start, but then it became more and more difficult. I'm still convinced it was a brother idea to set me up. But I've never learned as much as I did from this little game. I remember speaking with Professor Etta Kralovec, one of the leading experts fighting against homework. Something she said stuck with me. We have only one home assignment as parents and as educators, to help and inspire children to find what they are really passionate about. And it is amazing to see how canceling homework, that simple act, can reinvent the whole everyday practice of personal learning. And speaking of being responsible, our main goal is to help children become self-directed and creative learners. Thank you so much.